वेलकम यू ऑल। जैसा कि आप सब जानते हैं कि जेकेपीएससी ने रिसेंटली असिस्टेंट रजिस्ट्रार की पोस्ट को एडवर्टाइज किया इन कोऑपरेटिव डिपार्टमेंट। While going through the syllabus of these posts, we come to know that 50% of the syllabus is about cooperatives. I am making this video with a view that this video may be helpful to the aspiring aspirants who are going to appear for this examination. This video will definitely be helpful to other aspirants who are preparing for other competitive exams. I want to make one point clear to you people that my sole intention is to make you people familiar with the topic as per the demand of the examination. We are not going sentimental about the topic. Now let's begin with the meaning and definition of cooperation. The concept of cooperation envisages a group of persons having one or more common economic needs. यहाँ पे two things are important. एक group of persons और दूसरा common economic needs. An individual cannot form a cooperation on his own. Group of persons is mandatory. And second thing, common economic needs are also mandatory. For example, if the group of persons having different economic needs, then they cannot come together. These group of persons voluntarily agree to pool their resources, human as well as material. They use these resources for mutual benefits on democratic lines. Now we have to understand how these people in a cooperation get mutually benefited and how this cooperation is based upon democratic lines. We will take an example of a cooperative society in which there are 10 members. If a single member is providing his service to the cooperative society, he himself gets benefited. And from his service, the other members of the cooperative society also get benefited. This is the concept of mutual benefits. And on democratic lines, how this cooperation is based upon democratic lines? First point, the membership in a cooperation is voluntary. The admission to a member as well as retirement of a member is voluntary. There is no compulsion that you have to be a part of this cooperative society or cooperation. There is no compulsion that you cannot leave. There is no compulsion that you have to come. So, second point about this democratic character of cooperation is that the members have single vote. That means a single member of a corporation or a cooperative society has only one vote, irrespective of shareholding. Cooperation is self-help as well as mutual help. As we have understood this point, how it is self-help and how it is mutual help. It is a joint enterprise. It is not an enterprise of an individual. It is a enterprise of a group of people who are not financially strong. Why they come together? They come together with a view of not getting profit, but to overcome the disability arising out of want of inadequate financial resources. That means they are not financially sound. They cannot start a business on their own because they lack financial resources. They come together, pool their small amounts and start a business. Cooperation is a middle way between capitalist economy and socialist economy. We know that in a capitalist economy, the means of production distribution are owned by private owners or private members, while as in a socialistic economy, the means of production distribution are owned by the community at large. So there are drawbacks of capitalism as well as socialism. In capitalism, the working class gets exploited. There is a concentration of wealth among the few people, as in case of India we see there is an exploitation of the working class. The maximum wealth of India is getting concentrated among a few persons. Likewise, the defects or drawbacks of socialism is that it curtails individual freedom, or there is curtailment of individual freedom. So this cooperation is a middle way between capitalistic economy and socialistic economy. One of the definition about cooperation given by a renowned scholar H. Calvert, he says that the cooperation is a form of organization in which persons voluntarily associate together as human beings on the basis of equality for promotion of economic interests of themselves. He clears 2-3 points over here that it is a group of persons, not individual. It is volunteer basis. There is no compulsion. There is equality. There are economic interests. Though this definition is widely accepted, but it lacks social philosophy of serving the interests of community in general. Characteristics of cooperative enterprise. Association of persons. It's man that counts much, not money. As already I pointed out to you people that cooperative society or cooperation is an association of persons. The prime importance here is given to the man, not to the profit, and the provision of service over here is maximum, and prime objective of a cooperative society is service. It is a business enterprise, not charitable enterprise. As we can understand that the provision of profit is here, but profit is not given the sole importance or the prime importance. Rather, it is kept secondary. Service is given the importance, man is given the importance. It is a business enterprise because it is coupled with profit and risk. There is a common interest of the members. There are common needs to satisfy. It is a voluntary enterprise. There is element of coercion is absent. What is this element of coercion? That means we cannot pursue a person by force or by compulsion that you have to be a part of this enterprise or you have to left this enterprise. Admission as well as retirement, both are voluntary. It is a democratic enterprise. Every member has one vote irrespective of the number of shares. The keynote of cooperation is self-help and mutual help. Slogan of cooperation is all for one and one for all. This slogan, it is very important from the examination point of view, as they may ask, what is the slogan of cooperation? Objectives of cooperation. Objectives or aims of cooperation can broadly be divided into two things. One are immediate objectives and another one is long-term objectives. Immediate objectives differ from society to society and are not important as per the examination point of view. Long-term objectives or aims at primary, secondary or apex levels remains the same. The long-term objectives are also called general or basic objectives. Viz. The first objective of a cooperation is elimination of intermediaries. Second objective of cooperation is raising the economic status of weaker sections. Third objective of cooperation is removal of the evils of capitalism. Like we discussed that capitalism, there is exploitation, there is class struggle, there is inequality, there is unfair competition, whereas cooperation provides fair profit, better services. Raising the moral standard of its members. What do we understand by the raising the moral standard of its members? See, the combination of business with ethics is a novel future of a cooperative society, which will lead to honesty, and truthfulness. Cooperation tries to better economic life and instill moral qualities. Number fifth objective of cooperation is increasing the prosperity of community. See, when the sense of community feelings come, community means we feelings. There is the definition of community is having a common geographical territory and having we feelings. In community, we do have we feelings. So the sense of community begins by the concept of cooperation, individualistic attitude to broader view of life. This cooperation leads to the welfare of whole, as its slogan is all for one and one for all. Community feelings get boosted, and this helps us to bind with the concept of cooperation. Abolition of social inequalities. The social inequalities which we see in our society, they get eliminated, which wealth has created. Neutrality in religion and politics. This is the fundamental to the concept of cooperation, and finally it will lead to the development of corporate life. Origin and development of cooperative movement in India. Indian cooperative movement was a child of distress, and it emerged out of turmoil and dissatisfaction due to 19th century industrial revolution. So this cooperative movement in India emerged out of the confusion, out of the effects of the industrial revolution, which badly affected the self-sufficient village economy of India. So let's get familiar with the effects of industrial revolution on Indian society. The first thing that industrial revolution caused to the village economy was the decay of cottage industry. That means the small scale industries of our villages got devastated by this industrial revolution. Growing pressure on land, making agriculture uneconomical venture. Now these people who were associated with the small scale industries came to agriculture to find their livelihood. Pressure on land increased. The pressure on rather agricultural land increased, which make the agriculture uneconomic. People began to move from villages to cities to find jobs. There was a rapid growth of middlemen. There was destruction of self-sufficient economy of villages. There were failure of rents, indebtedness, which worsened the situation. So in nutshell, we can understand that due to industrial revolution, there was no plan of the government to start any cooperative movement in India. It emerged due to the needs at that time. It emerged out of the situation at that time, which led to the cooperative movement to emerge. What happened next? When industrial revolution caused these things to our society, government took various legislative measures. Need for cheap credit facility to farmers became need of hour. That means farmers were in indebtedness. There was a need that they should be provided credit with cheap interest rates, and the idea of cooperative credit societies got momentum in 1892. This point should be noted here that cooperative societies in different sectors did not get momentum. Only cooperative credit societies got momentum. That means who will give credit to farmers on cheap interest basis. They got momentum. What happened next? The Madras government sent Sir Frederick Nicholson to Europe to study cooperative movement. this is a fact they may ask. Madras government sent Sir Frederick Nicholson to Europe to study cooperative movement. Second thing, Government of India appointed another committee in 1901 whose chairman was Sir Edward Law to study cooperative credit societies in India. Up to this period, only there is a talk of cooperative credit societies, nothing else. This committee, which was headed by Sir Edward Law, which was appointed by Government of India to study cooperative credit societies, he recommended establishment of cooperative societies on Refesan model. What is this Refesan model? Actually, Refesan was a scholar who was Germany based scholar, and Germany is said to be the birth land of cooperative movement in world. This Refesan model has its own characteristics, how loans should be given, what should be done with the establishment of cooperative societies, etc., which we will deal in later part of this video or next video. So we have to only remember here that Government of India appointed a committee in 1901 whose chairman was Sir Edward Law to study cooperative credit societies in India. This committee recommended establishment of societies on Refesan model. Also, Famine Commission in 1901 also recommended setting mutual credit associations. That there was another commission appointed by the Government of India which was known by the name Famine Commission. It also recommended setting up of mutual credit associations. Accordingly, Cooperative Credit Societies Act was passed in 1904, thus giving cooperatives a legal position. Otherwise, they were not having any legal position. By the passage of this act, Cooperative Credit Societies Act 1904, cooperative credit societies got legal status. So cooperative movement in India is said to have begun with the passage of Cooperative Credit Societies Act. Now we became familiar with the concept that the cooperative movement in India is said to have begun with the passage of Cooperative Credit Societies Act of 1904. We will study now the history of cooperative movement in India up to 1947. First stage of cooperative movement 1904 to 1911. If we will start from 1904, that means we have to start from the Cooperative Credit Societies Act of 1904. So let's begin. This act provided for the establishment of cooperative credit societies both in urban and rural areas. That means by this act, legal position was given to only cooperative credit societies. Other societies were not included in this act. It was meant for both urban and rural areas. The model for rural areas was Refesan model and the model for urban areas was Schusel pattern. So, the Government of India adopted these two models because Germany is said to be the birthplace of cooperative movement in the world. These persons belonged to Germany. Provision was made in every province for appointment of registrars. So registrars were appointed in every province. Registrars were appointed in every province. The objectives of the act were to encourage to thrift, to self-help and cooperation among agriculturists, artisans and persons of limited means. That means its objectives were to encourage the persons who have limited means. It means to encourage the persons who are artisans. It means to encourage the persons who are agriculturists so that they will come into the fold of cooperation and they can come out of this poverty. Features of the Act. Now this Cooperative Credit Societies Act of 1904 has its own features, or rather had its own features. One of the features was that a society could be formed by any 10 members living in same village or town. Once I told you the definition of community is that they should have a common geographical area and there should be we feelings. So the same concept is embedded over here. That means a society could be formed by any 10 members living in same village or town. That means this was the compulsory part, same village or town. That means community feelings can get boosted so that the members will come together, they will help each other, they will come out of this economic hardships. The first point is very clear. That means a society could be formed by any 10 members living in same village or town. Cooperative societies were classified as rural and urban. Rural societies were bound to have unlimited liability. Now, what is this unlimited liability? It's a concept of probably economics or accountancy, that unlimited liability and limited liability. You only remember one thing, that in unlimited liability, if a person invests rupees 50,000 in a business, if there is a huge loss, he has to pay the as per huge loss, not as per his investment. While as in a limited liability, if a person invests 50,000 rupees, whatsoever be the loss, he will only lose 50,000. Whereas in unlimited liability, he can lose more than that. Urban option left to them. Those the cooperative societies, as it were classified into rural and urban. In a rural societies, they were bound to have unlimited liability, while as in urban societies, option was left to them whether they will go for unlimited liability or whether they will go for limited liability. Act provided only for creation of credit societies. Very important point. That means this act only provided for creation of credit societies. Operational area of societies was restricted. That means operational area of rural societies as well as urban societies was restricted. Appointment of registrars in each province. Accounts audited by registrars or his staff free. That means the cooperative society, its accounts are supposed to get audited. They will be audited by the registrars or his staff without any cost. These societies were exempted from income tax, stamp duties, registration fees, etc. Special feature of this period was government was prime mover of the movement. There was no role of other people except government in moving the movement. That means government was prime mover of the movement. Movement was initiated by government and supported by government. Act was found insufficient. Which act? Cooperative Credit Societies Act of 1904 was found insufficient to meet the growing needs. What kind of needs? That means there were other societies who are not having any legal position. So this act was found insufficient. No legal protection to societies other than credit, which I discussed. No provision of central agency, for example central banks or unions, for financing primary societies. That means this act only provided for the creation of credit society. There was no provision for central banks. There was no provision for other societies. Classification of societies, rural and urban, was arbitrary and unsuitable. That means the classification of societies as urban and rural, it was found that it is arbitrary, it is not up to the situation, it is unsuitable to the situation. So these things were cleared in the lateral these things were cleared by passing another act in 1912, which we will discuss in the next video lecture, how defects of 1904 act were removed. There is also a topic upon the McLegan Committee report of 1914. We will also study cooperative movement in other countries like England, which is known for consumer cooperative movement. We will also study cooperative movement in Germany, which is said to be the birthplace of cooperative movement in world. We will also study cooperative movement in Denmark, which is known for its dairy cooperatives. We will also study Israel, collective farming. We will also study new age cooperatives. As far these 2 points are concerned, one is new age cooperatives. It is clearly mentioned in the syllabus that new age cooperatives. And second thing, cooperative movement in other countries. This is also clearly mentioned in the syllabus. I will remain focused and dedicated only if I will get a response on this video lecture. Later on, we will see. Inshallah, will continue this video lecture. I will try to cover all the syllabus which is about cooperatives. Thank you.